Y&R Spoilers Revealed in the bustling but always undercurrent atmosphere of Genoa City, Nikki Newman's birthday party is not simply a lavish annual social event but also a gathering place for the city's most ambitious and calculating people. The sparkling lights, the laughter, the sparkling champagne only partially conceal the fact that everyone in the room carries a secret, a motive, or an insecurity that they are not yet ready to face. For Victor Newman, a man whose power has been built on both determination and ruthlessness, every party is a game of chess. But as he stands confidently amid the congratulations and admiring glances of the upper class, a sudden chill blows into the room, not because of the weather but because of the appearance, albeit via a message, of Aristotle Dumas. Dumas was not present, but his shadow loomed over the party, making every conversation suddenly more reserved and the eyes more scrutinizing. Aristotle Dumas, a name both unfamiliar and haunting to Genoa, chose the right moment to launch a tricky move. While everyone was absorbed in the jubilant atmosphere, a mysterious video suddenly appeared on the big screen, interrupting the music, causing the entire audience to fall silent. In the recording, there was only a vague silhouette of Dumas, a deep voice saying, "Genoa City, prepare for the most unexpected. Sometimes, the strongest are the most vulnerable." The whole audience seemed to hold their breath. One by one, people began to whisper, guessing the meaning of this message. Was Dumas targeting Victor Newman, or was he simply playing a cat-and-mouse game with the entire city? Nikki, who was used to the unpredictable surprises in her husband's life, still couldn't help but feel a chill down her spine when she saw the coldness appearing on Victor's face. But Victor just smiled faintly, trying to maintain his usual calm, even though deep in his mind he had already begun to draw the worst scenarios. Adam and Chelsea, two people who had been Victor's allies and then enemies, smiled meaningfully. They realized that this could be their chance. If Dumas had enough power to confuse Victor, why didn't they take advantage of this chaos to hide their own schemes? Chelsea had long since ceased to be the weak woman who only knew how to stand behind powerful men, and Adam, with his ambitious nature and ability to adapt to the darkness, had always longed to step out of his father's shadow. Now, before them was a new chessboard, where each chess piece carried unanswered questions. However, behind those temporary smiles of victory, Adam also knew that forming a secret alliance with Dumas or simply taking advantage of this chaos would be extremely dangerous. Dumas was not an easy person to control, and Victor had never been defeated for a long time by any enemy. He considered every step carefully, not wanting Chelsea or himself to become the next victim of the power play between the most powerful people in Genoa City. Across the auditorium, Billy Abbott could not help but pay attention to every movement, every frown, and even every whisper between Adam, Chelsea, and those related to Dumas. He had stumbled many times because he was too trusting or too subjective, so now, before any sign of a new plot, Billy was on high alert. He knew that, although Dumas was apparently targeting Victor, no one could be sure whether Billy was out of danger. Maybe with just one small mistake, he will become the one who is used or sacrificed in this endless war. Nikki, the central character of the party but the one who most longs for the peace of the family, suddenly feels an invisible weight pulling everything down to the abyss. She remembers the first days when she first married into the Newman family. She used to think that love and perseverance were enough to keep everything together. But time and painful lessons have taught Nikki that, in Victor's world, love is indispensable, but vigilance is vital. Dumas' message makes her worried not only for her husband, but also for Adam, Chelsea, and everyone who is unwittingly caught up in the vortex of power and revenge. Although no one said anything, the atmosphere in the room suddenly became thick, all eyes turned to Victor waiting for a reaction. But Victor just nodded, smiled mysteriously, and gently raised his glass, as if to affirm that no matter how many rough waves there were out there, he still controlled the board. Hundreds of thoughts overlapped in Victor's mind. He realized that this time, his opponent was not just Billy or any of the long list of people who had tried to take down Newman Enterprises, but someone like Dumas, hidden, intelligent, and terrifyingly dangerous. At the same time, Dumas remained completely hidden. He observed everything that happened, even seeming to predict every move of Victor, Adam, and the others. No one knew what Dumas's true intentions were. Was he just trying to pull off a prank, or was there a plan to take over the company, or was it revenge for some past grudge? Genoa City became a silent battlefield, where everyone had to be cautious, wary of those they thought were closest to them. Dumas's mystery had unintentionally created a wave of widespread unease, leading to a series of chain reactions. Shareholders began to doubt the safety of Newman Enterprises, and rivals were making plans to seize the opportunity. Even the most loyal people could not help but think of withdrawing or switching to another ship if they felt that Victor was losing ground. But if anyone thought that Victor Newman would back down, they were completely wrong. On the contrary, Dumas's presence is like a stimulant, making Victor more determined and bold than ever. He vows to expose Dumas' true face, and warns that anyone who helps the enemy will pay a heavy price. In another dark corner of the city, Adam and Chelsea secretly meet. Adam, with a cold gaze, shares his suspicions about Dumas' true motives, and questions whether any of his old acquaintances might be working for Dumas. Chelsea listens quietly, trying to read every nuance of emotion on Adam's face, to realize whether he is truly sincere or just hiding part of the truth for himself. In her heart, Chelsea knows that if she wants to survive this storm, she needs to prepare herself for every possibility, including betraying Adam if that is necessary. As night falls, Genoa City is still brightly lit, but hidden behind the glass windows are hundreds of anxious eyes, thousands of plans and calculations being drawn up every minute. Every step, every decision of the key characters can have unpredictable consequences. Victor, Adam, Chelsea, Billy, Nikki. All are caught up in a game whose rules change with every breath Dumas takes. And when the night finally covers the darkest corners of Genoa City, everyone understands that Dumas' message is not just a warning, but the opening shot of a series of tense days where everyone must ask themselves, who is friend, who is enemy? And is anyone strong enough, wise enough to turn the tables, or are they all just pawns in a chess game where Aristotle Dumas holds absolute control? Adam Newman has never been one to back down from a challenge, especially when the fame, power, and potential dangers of the Newman family are tightening around him. In recent days, Adam has been constantly noticing the increasing attention of Victor Newman, the powerful father who will never let his second son surpass him in any aspect. Victor's suspicions and vigilance are focused on Adam, especially after he realizes that the intention to overthrow Billy Abbott is not simply a normal competition but also a strategic move that can send Newman Enterprises into a seismic upheaval. On the other side of the city, Chelsea Lawson, who has been on the run countless times, been betrayed, and betrayed others, has now become a powerful ally and the only co-conspirator Adam can fully trust. The two find common ground in their past traumas, and that creates a dangerous but fierce alliance. Chelsea knows that Adam wants to protect Jack Abbott, one of the few people Adam still truly cares about, and a friend who has helped him many times in his darkest moments. Late one night in their small apartment, Adam proposes a bold idea. A plan that can save Billy Abbott from Victor's wrath, while also diverting his attention to Aristotle Dumas, the name that haunts all the power-hungry people in Genoa City. Chelsea's eyes flicker with fear when she hears it. She knows that deceiving Victor is like walking into the wolf's mouth, but reason tells her that there is no absolutely safe option in this game. If Victor continues to push Billy into a corner, the end result will be the downfall of not only the Abbott family but also many people Chelsea once loved. Adam devised a plan. They would create a fake scandal, a cryptic message in the Dumas style, clever, provocative, and suggestive enough, but not so obvious as to be a hoax. If successful, Victor would immediately turn his attention to Dumas, whom he still considered one of his most dangerous potential threats. Billy would be relieved of pressure, and the Abbotts would have more time and opportunity to strike back. Chelsea, with her experience of outwitting tabloids and cunning rivals, began to plot out the story. They found a professional hacker, hired a shadow media team, prepared emails, anonymous recordings, fake evidence, all wrapped in mystery, as if Aristotle Dumas were actually pulling the strings. Chelsea took every step carefully, constantly warning Adam of the risks if Victor discovered the truth. She did not forget to remind Victor of the times he had taught those who betrayed him. Once blacklisted, no one could escape Newman Sr.'s wrath. The plan was activated during a major event in the city, an annual fundraiser attended by most of the powerful. While Victor was still enthusiastically implementing the steps to deal with Billy, a mysterious text message was sent to his phone, and appeared in the emails of a series of leaders of large companies, shareholders, and international investors. The content was short, just one sentence: "What you believe to be true may just be someone else's game. Dumas." No one knew the starting point, no one found the source, but all traces led to Dumas, or at least they seemed to. Victor was immediately drawn into a maze of suspicion. All security departments and IT teams of Newman Enterprises were mobilized to track, analyze, and check every line of data. Victor called his partners, checked every contract that he thought Dumas could get in. The atmosphere in the corporation was immediately tense, urgent meetings were held continuously. Victor's attention to Billy and the Abbott family was suddenly distracted. In his mind there was only one name: Aristotle Dumas. Meanwhile, Adam and Chelsea pretended to be calm, continued to appear next to Victor and the key members of Newman, playing the role of loyal people, constantly asking, giving advice, trying to strengthen Victor's belief that Dumas was really lurking somewhere, waiting for the opportunity to destroy Newman Enterprises. Chelsea, although appearing tough on the outside, was still confused on the inside, afraid that one day Victor would realize the truth, everything would collapse not only for Adam, but also for herself. The atmosphere at the Abbott house also changed dramatically. Billy breathed a sigh of relief when he noticed that Victor's pressure had lessened. Jack, with his vast experience and the alertness of a leader who had faced Newman many times, still did not completely believe that the storm had passed. He reminded Billy to always be vigilant, to avoid being careless lest he fall into another trap, and at the same time secretly observed Adam and Chelsea, because Jack understood that, in the world of Genoa, no one did anything just to help a friend. The more Victor investigated, the more he got bogged down in a matrix of false data. The clues were cut off halfway. He was frustrated, angry, constantly questioning his subordinates about their inability to find Dumas's whereabouts. During sleepless nights, Victor began to doubt everything, even his own son. Adam clearly felt Victor's increasingly cold scrutiny, but he still kept his calm appearance, skillfully adjusting his words and actions, even giving Victor suggestions to follow the fake traces that he and Chelsea created. However, every secret will eventually be exposed. One day, Victor accidentally discovered an unusual recording, restored from the server system, showing Adam's voice and a secret conversation with a hacker. Immediately, he gathered Adam and Chelsea, put them in a closed room, closed the door and did not let anyone else interfere. The atmosphere became thick, every passing second seemed endless. Victor looked at Adam with a cold and disappointed gaze. "Did you do it?" The question did not need to be answered, because the truth was too obvious. Chelsea opened her mouth to explain, but Adam stopped her, frankly admitting that everything was arranged by him, with the sole purpose of protecting Jack and Billy from Victor's merciless revenge. In that moment, Victor was speechless. He realized that although Adam was his son, the rift between the two was too deep. Adam could not be absolutely loyal to him, because he had his own values and relationships that Victor could not control or dominate. That betrayal, to Victor, was not something new, but it still hurt him like being stabbed by a knife from his own flesh and blood. Despite his anger, Victor was also the one who understood that Adam did not act purely out of self-interest. It all stemmed from loyalty to his friends, from the fear of being hurt by his loved ones. Chelsea, seeing Victor silent, hastily made a final plea: "If you don't forgive us, please think of Connor. That child cannot lose both his father and mother because of such a reckless plan." Victor looked at them both, his eyes filled with a mixture of anger, disappointment, and a bit of unspeakable sorrow. After a long while, he coldly warned, "If you dare to cross me again, I will not show mercy. But this time, for Connor's sake, I will give you a chance to make things right. Prove yourself worthy." Adam and Chelsea breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time realized that the line between survival and despair in the world of Genoa was more fragile than ever. From now on, every step they took would have to be more careful, not only to protect themselves but also to preserve what remained of the trust from Victor Newman, the father, the enemy, and the one who controlled the fate of their entire family and those they loved. Meanwhile, somewhere else, the real Aristotle Dumas was still watching everything. He smiled, realizing that sometimes, the creator of the game doesn't need to do anything directly, he just needs to sow fear and doubt in people's hearts, and everything will automatically collapse from within. And the war in Genoa City has only just begun. In a luxurious apartment in the heart of Genoa City, Adam Newman sat across from Chelsea Lawson, his eyes shining with anxiety and determination. Outside, Victor Newman, the powerful and cold father, was still trying his best to destroy Billy Abbott, regardless of everything that had happened in the past between the Newman and Abbott families. The pressure that Victor put on Billy was increasing, making the atmosphere in the city's business community even more tense. Adam knew that if things continued like this, sooner or later a tragedy would happen, not only for Billy but also with unpredictable consequences for those outside the fight. It was in this situation that Adam, with the sharp instinct of an experienced person, proposed to Chelsea a bold plan, to create a fake scandal to distract Victor, diverting his attention from Billy Abbott and the Abbott family in general. Chelsea was stunned by the idea, knowing the stakes, knowing that if one mistake went wrong, both she and Adam would become traitors in Victor's eyes, something no one in the world wanted to face. But Adam was undaunted. He reasoned that if they were the ones who had created the scandal, if they were behind the mysterious messages supposedly from Aristotle Dumas, they could not only save Billy from Victor's clutches, but also bring Dumas, the dangerous, hidden enemy, into their true sights. In Adam's mind, this was not just a power play, but also a test of sanity and loyalty. He knew that if it worked, Victor would have to pay attention to Dumas instead of Billy. If it failed, he and Chelsea would pay dearly, unless the plan was clever enough for Victor to see this as an opportunity to draw Dumas out of the shadows. Chelsea mused. She knew Victor was the type of person who would do anything if he saw a clear benefit, and he might even temporarily forgive Adam and her, on the condition that they actually bring Dumas to light. It was a slim hope, but for Adam, sometimes just a small crack in the door was enough to open a new path. The plan was carried out in secret, meticulously down to the last detail. Adam took advantage of underground connections, hired a high-tech team to create coded messages, imitating Dumas's cold and cryptic style. Chelsea, experienced in the media game, planned to spread the news through many different sources, from anonymous emails sent to big business leaders, international shareholders, to leaking some encrypted chats to social networks. All staged to look like a mysterious warning from Dumas himself to Victor and his rivals in Genoa. In just one night, a wave of excitement spread throughout the city. Rumors of a new conspiracy, of the return of Aristotle Dumas like a ghost manipulating all power, causing large and small corporations to tremble. Victor, who had long been wary of Dumas, immediately changed the direction of the investigation, summoning the security team, hackers, lawyers, and insiders who had cooperated with Dumas before. He fiercely searched for every trace, every message, every clue was scrutinized to the end. Billy Abbott, who was freed from Victor's direct pursuit, felt a sense of relief, but he still couldn't help but feel uneasy. He knew that, when the storm passed, many people would ask, why did Victor suddenly forgive him, and were Adam and Chelsea really innocent? Jack Abbott, with the cunning of a man who has been through power struggles, advises Billy to be cautious, and secretly keeps an eye on Adam and Chelsea, because everything in Newman's world can change overnight. Meanwhile, Chelsea is constantly on guard, watching Victor's every move. Adam also keeps an eye on his father's movements. They know that if just one small detail doesn't match Victor's expectations, all their efforts will be wasted, and their future, even Connor's, will be seriously threatened. Victor, with his experienced instincts, quickly realizes the strangeness of the Dumas messages. He decides not to make this public, but secretly keeps an eye on Adam and Chelsea. Victor has two conflicting thoughts. On the one hand, he feels betrayed if he discovers that his son and Chelsea have set everything up. On the other hand, he also saw this as a good opportunity to lure Dumas out, because only a convincing enough impersonation could make a cunning fox like Dumas appear to defend himself or regain control of the game. Genoa City quickly fell into a state of extreme tension. Newman Enterprises shareholders and partners began to worry, the international media quietly followed every step, and Victor's every meeting was strictly monitored. Chelsea and Adam, on the outside, still kept a cold and calm face, but inside they were really confused. They realized that this game was much bigger than they had initially imagined.